Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and I'm here today at SHOT Show 2024 with Mr. Mike Branson of Gideon Optics. Mike is a total optics nerd. You worked for like 3 different optics
This is
companies
my
so
third,
far.
right?
Yeah.
Primary Arms starting in 2015, and then I moved to Swampfox in about 2019 and helped them get started. I was employee number 6 with Swampfox when I started there, and then they wanted me to move to Denver, and I got family in Houston, and I decided to make the family choice and stayed in Houston. And so these guys picked me up, and I'm still in Houston now, working remote. The rest of the crowd here is sort of out of the Pittsburgh area.
Okay.
But yeah, this is my third optics company, Gideon Optics, and it's going really well so far. I'm super pleased with the progress we've made.
Cool.
Yeah.
So you've been involved with red dot sights in particular for like all 3 of these companies.
Right.
All right.
I'm a huge pistol dot guy. My wife and I instruct. We teach people to shoot, and pistol dots are everywhere now. You know, like the guy who's only shooting iron sights is almost getting to be in the minority.
Yeah.
You see dots all over the place now. Yeah.
So I thought we could do just a quick lightning round, true or false.
Oh yeah.
All right, so first question. There's one factory in China that makes all the red dots, and they just tweak them so they have a different brand name for each company.
And if you spend $50 more, they'll put your name on the side, right?
That's what I hear.
Yeah. No, for $50, they'll put your name on it.
But you've been there. You've talked to this factory.
I know how it's made, right? So it's completely not that at all. What's funny is that we think of China as communist because their government swears they're communist. I honestly think in some kind of scary ways they're more capitalistic than we are.
Okay.
You know, if there's money to be made, they are after it. You know,
that is very true.
Yeah. Don't get between them and a $20 bill, right? You know, yeah. So who's more capitalist? So I tell people when I have this conversation, when I grew up, it was like Ford, Chevy, Dodge in rural Missouri, right? And there was a lot of brand loyalty that, you know, my Oldsmobile is better than your Pontiac, and everybody knows that Buick's for old guys, right? And there was that brand loyalty of you know, Pontiac, we're driving excitement, or whatever the old jingle was, right? And then you find out later on it's all GM, and the difference between an Oldsmobile motor and a Pontiac motor, you know, if it's a 6-cylinder and they just stamp the stamping different, and you know that's how that worked, right? So you get this idea that
there's just
all
one
made
big
in the
factory in Detroit that makes all the cars.
Right. In fact, in China, first of all, China is giant.
Yes.
It's huge, and it has a ton of people, and it has a ton of cities where things are made, including optics. So there's not one factory. There are multiple cities where there are multiple factories. So they don't just have a red dot Detroit. It would be like if Ford was in Detroit, Chevy was in Bowling Green, Kentucky, where they make Corvettes, and Dodge was in Wyoming or something, whatever. So they're geographically distant from each other, but there's like 20 of them.
Okay.
So there's a ton of these different factories, and they're all, plus they subcontract. So very few of them are what the business people would call vertically integrated.
Okay.
So if we go to the Philippines and we look at Asia Optical, or we go to Japan and we look at Light Optic Works, those people are a lot more vertically integrated, where they make the housing, they make the emitter, they make the PCBS board that goes in it, they make the glass, they have the glass polished, they have the glass coated, right? The Chinese don't work that way. It's like when you build a house and you have subcontractors come in, and one guy does the plumbing, and one guy does the roof, and one guy does the tile, and he's the tile expert, he's the roof expert, and they don't really know each other. They don't really care, right? So in China, you'll see this with these optics a lot. Hey, these buttons look really similar to buttons on another red dot. They must be made in the same place. They're not, but they bought the buttons from the same plumber.
Right. The buttons were made in the same place.
The buttons were made in the same place, but again, and then it gets even deeper to the weeds. So I have a Chevrolet Corvette, and I have a Chevrolet Camaro, and I have a Chevrolet Malibu. They all say Chevy on the side. Are they all built to the same level of care? Are they all built to the same quality? Well, one of them's an $80,000 car, one of them's a $20,000 car. So clearly the answer is probably not. A Malibu is not just like a Corvette. They both say Chevy, though. So again, I can get this housing made out of 7075 aluminum from a subcontractor who's going to take it to my factory, and the guys that I talk with and work with, and they say, we can get these housings made however you want, help us design it. That's where we come in. We help them design it. We say, this is what we want. We want a window that's this size. Can you make it? Will you have parallax issues? We work with them on that stuff, and we see what's possible. And then they go to all the little subcontractors, and then they put this together for us and say, this is what it's going to cost. And we go, cool. Well, we can sell that for $230 and still make a little bit of money per dot, and it's fun to shoot with. I'll take it, right? And that's how the business works. So you see these little bits and pieces that look familiar, and they are. Doesn't mean they're made in the same place. If they are made in the same place, maybe I like these buttons to be a little bit more clicky than the other ones. So they're different on the inside because I like a firmer click, and the other guys were more okay with a mushy click. So I pay a little bit more for a firm click on mine, and they paid a little bit less or whatever. So you get into the weeds, and it gets even more complicated than that. So there's multiple levels of product quality and quality control. That's a whole other thing. Some of these companies, so I tell people, again, another weird Mike Branson analogy. I go to Discount Tire, and I need to get a tire for my car. I'm not a tire expert. I don't follow tires. I don't know how tires are made, right? But they give me a good, better, best. They give me a good, a better, and a best. Do you want the best one that's the most expensive? Do you want the high value one, or do you want the one that's the cheapest that we can make, right? I'm a middle of the road kind of guy personally, right? So I want stuff that it's a good tire, but I didn't pay for a race tire on what's not really a race car, right? So how much quality can I get in this and sell it at a price point that's palatable to our core customer, which is frankly me. I'm our core customer. Because my rule is, if I wouldn't spend my own money on this and put it on my own gun, I'm not going to sell it to you.
Nice.
If I wouldn't spend $230 and put this on my own pistol and carry it around defensively in case somebody tries to rob the 7-Eleven, then I'm not selling it to anybody else. My basic rule, right?
Okay.
So that's the game that I'm playing, and it's more complicated than people think. And one more thing, in the defense of the Chinese people, if you don't like your government and you don't like the politicians that we have in our office in Washington, D.C., imagine how those people feel. Because I can put a bumper sticker on the back of my car that says, I hate the federal government, screw them, and nothing will happen to me. Nobody cares. You see bumper stickers all the time that say all kinds of things that are wildly offensive. Nothing happens to those people. Imagine if we couldn't speak a word to criticize what we saw going wrong in our seat of government. The Chinese people are good people. They deserve better. They work hard. They want their kids to have clean water and good food and have a good school, just like we do. They're not evil people who hate Americans and want to conquer Taiwan. Their government might want that.
Right. People and government are two totally separate things everywhere.
Please do not judge the people that I talk to and that built this really nice product for me. Please don't think that they've got a red flag and a portrait of Chairman Mao hanging up in their office. If they do, they don't want to. I guarantee you, folks. All right, I just had to say that on your channel.
That makes sense. Yeah. I've run into that sort of thing many places overseas. The government, the foreign policy, the grand macro scale view of a country is...
It ain't like you and me. It's not the same. Not the same people.
But you know what? A lot of people are pretty similar everywhere.
Yeah. We all want to have a cool hobby. We want to protect our lives. We want to be safe. You know, I used to be a lawyer. I always said all of our constitutional rights are very important, but if I'm not alive, I can't exercise any of them. I love the First Amendment. If I'm dead, I have no First Amendment rights anymore.
This is true.
So I take a platypus here, and I can save my own life, and I can have a First Amendment right for hopefully another 30, 40 years if I don't have a heart attack. Cool.
And you can do it with a fairly affordable dot.
Right.
It doesn't have to be a $700 aim point or a $3,500 dual dot SIG.
Right, right. This does red dot stuff just fine at the level that I shoot and for the things that I need to do.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the real story on Chinese-made optics. You heard it from me, and that's the way I see it.
Awesome. Yeah. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
If you guys are looking for a good, inexpensive, reliable Chinese-made red dot or other optic, Gideon Optics.
I'm your guy. Yeah. Thanks so much, Ian. Really appreciate it.
Thanks for watching.